August. All right. Hey guys.
Hey, what's
Hiya.
happening? How are you
We're
doing?
super excited. We're stoked.
Yeah, definitely.
Today we got a couple friends with us that we met down on our last trip in Florida. Ellen and Bob Mosley. I guess Bob is known more as Bob Gnarly.
Bob Gnarly, Gnarly, Bob Gnarly.
Let's start with that. How did that name come up?
Man, I've had nicknames since I was 2 days old. Probably like
That name, that exact name.
not that one, but many nicknames. So many
Wow.
nicknames. And that one, somebody just threw it out there one day. We were surfing, like all things that are real. It came out in the water one day, and guy said it. Another guy heard it. That was a friend of mine. And I'll be honest, I didn't really like it at first, but I'll take that one. It lets me know if I hear that it's a close friend. So
Alex has a nickname too.
Yeah.
It's Kook. That's what he hears all the time.
yeah, I've worn that one too plenty of times, man.
You know what? It's because he's constantly surfing behind me. I never understand why, but he's always back there. I'm like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You need to get him a rear view mirror for that board he's riding or something.
Exactly. No looking back. Forward ever. Backwards never.
But yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's we get a lot of things when we're out in the water. That's when our best thoughts come and the best sayings and the best nicknames.
Yeah. Like Kook.
My favorite one, the best one I ever got, and it was when I moved to St. Augustine. And St. Augustine was a different place then, and it was a little bit more local, and you kind of had to make your way. And I knew when I got a nickname that was derogatory that they knew who I was. And the name was Waterbug. And one day I will get Waterbug tattooed on me. But if I had to pick the favorite, Waterbug was the favorite.
Waterbug's a good one.
And I was all arms and legs. The peak came in and it was just spinning, and they, so Waterbug.
Gotcha. So let's try and go back to the beginning. And we'll kind of get answers from both of you two on this. Let me see. What got you surfing? How'd you start surfing? We'll start with Ellen, better known as Rellen, right? Is that
Yes.
Rellen?
She caught a wave before I did in this world, so let's let her go.
Yeah, I'm actually the chaperone for this meeting because 50 watt. How about 60 watt?
Wow.
At any rate, I grew up here in St. Augustine, and it's either you were a jock or you were a redneck or you were a surfer. There really wasn't. That was kind of the three main classifications. And
Right.
I was like 15 years old, caught my first wave. My best friend's name was Ellen as well. And we were both 15, and we would borrow whoever's board we possibly could. Oh, please just let us.
Right.
Trying to stand up. And guess we took to it. We stuck with it. Because I don't know how many years that is, from 1973, I think, was when I caught my first wave. So.
Gotcha. I got you by, I think, 1 year. 72.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah.
He was surfing in diapers.
I get it though. I mean, St. Augustine, Florida, what a beautiful place. I couldn't imagine surfing there in the 70s. I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah. So St. Augustine's a fountain of youth, known for the fountain of youth, right? So
Yeah.
What is your fountain of youth? What is your secret?
Flow.
Love?
Flow.
Flow.
Love starts there. Yes. But FLOW, the pursuit, the state of being in the constant.
In all forms.
Constant hunt. Yeah.
Nice.
Constant motion, always moving.
Yeah.
So Ellen started in St. Augustine. You weren't so lucky, right? You didn't get the warm waters to learn to surf.
You're from Richmond.
No, Richmond, Virginia. I grew up inland Richmond, Virginia. There was no like culture. Straight up.
There was no surf culture.
Board store. Excuse me?
No surf culture.
No, I mean, little bit, but you know, you're inland, there's not really much skate culture. And I had a kid in my neighborhood. I was a young boy, and he had this killer Hobie triple stringer skateboard with white clay wheels. And I don't know how old I was, 5, 6, 7, 8. And every chance I could, I snuck up in his backyard and I took that skateboard. And I'd bring it
Nice.
down to my house and I'd skate around on my deck and our whatever we had and find it. And you know, eventually they'd get it. But you know, it just, I do not remember when that was not the goal, you know, was to just.
Right. So it was always there. So it's not like an introduction, like, wow, look at that. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it was just there, but it was trippy because where Ellen grew up, like you're supported and people do it, you know. There was already second generation surfers in the 70s in St. Augustine, Florida, and man, everything about where I was, they said, dude, you are on the wrong path. Like this.
No beach culture
What
there.
are
That's
you
why.
doing with yourself?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and there was a few, but we found it, you know, figured it out and went our way. So
In
Yeah.
Richmond, that's, you know, I was conceived in Richmond.
Wow.
Yeah, I grew up in Virginia Beach, near, you know, a few hours away. But I remember going to Richmond, getting some tattoos and stuff, and like, you drove 3 hours for a tattoo? I'm like, yeah. And that was the first time I realized people don't leave the city sometimes. Call them fan babies. The
yeah,
fan babies. They stay
Yeah.
right in the fan
Yeah.
there, and they never leave. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, yeah, I
Well-
drove 3 hours for a tattoo. That's no big deal. I drive 3 hours to go surfing all the time.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Drive 3 hours and don't surf all the
yeah,
time.
well, that, well,
Wish you
so,
did.
Too often.
so Bob, you're old enough to remember this, and so we were talking about this, like, you know, now we have, like, we can take our phones and we can look up the surf, you know, but back in the day, you called the surf report or you just drove. And
Yeah,
I remember so many days driving from Virginia Beach all the way to the Outer Banks, getting all the way to the lighthouse, and it's flat,
yeah,
and getting in the car and turning around and going all the way back, like, you know, 2 to 5
Yeah.
2 hours each way.
yeah. Well, I'll be honest, when I was a kid and, you know, like we'd go to the beach as a family when we were boys, you know, when I was a young boy. And then when my brother was older, he started driving and we started cruising when we could. But
Billy?
I ever could, it never occurred to me that it would be flat. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even that was like not even in the reality of like, well, maybe it won't be
Right.
waves, man. We were going and if it was wet,
Yeah.
we were going to do something. So we would figure it
Right.
out, you know, and fortunately there were not many times we made the trip and would not have to, you know, wouldn't be able to catch a wave of some sort. I mean, when you at that stage, it doesn't take a whole lot to.
Yeah.
Well,
To
you know,
stoke you out,
and I think
yeah.
it's kind of like fishing. If you're not happy when you don't catch fish, maybe you shouldn't be a fisherman,
Yes.
you know, because a lot of time is going to be spent out fishing. But
Yeah.
surfing's the same way. You
Yeah.
have to enjoy the surf culture part of checking the waves out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's-
Well, I mean, how we met, and one of the reasons why I was so like, well, yeah, let's, you know, whatever, is because I trust the process that we met at my break, checking the surf at the tide change.
Yeah.
So that tells me everything I kind of know about the authenticity of everybody that's there at that moment.
Right.
And
Right.
so I don't have to check if we met online or if we met through some friends over here or that. I might be approached the whole thing different as opposed to not be. It's just radically open about it all. So those are kind of things that I definitely look at and speak to me like, well, you know, the waves put these two people together. So cool.
Yeah.
What's up? It put us together.
You too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so-
funny because we talked about that. Like after we left, we said, that's so funny that we met Bob and Ellen. Like there's no coincidence. Like that was intended to happen. Like we
Yeah.
were meant to meet those people and we never would have been there. Same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Pretty cool how that works.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Just random.
Yeah.
passing people on the highway every day. We don't even think about them, or because we weren't really meant to cross paths with those people.
Well, see, I look at that as everything wrapped up in that is how you get the set wave when the wave comes. If there's 25 dudes out, 25 people out, and one person is on the spot when the wave comes, that's flow. How do you become the person that's there when 24 others aren't? And the flow of the wave of the day, of the whole swell, that time, everything put us there. So that's the real deal to me.
Absolutely.
That's what I go with. That's what I'm saying. Okay, dude, here's your wave. Let's take the drop. And that's it. And so I get a lot of waves, man. I mean,
You get a lot of waves.
You get a lot of waves.
I get my
It was
way.
big that day.
And I concentrate. I'm going to share with everybody, but when the one comes, I'm going to try to be the deepest on everybody.
Yeah, you are a machine out there, and I appreciate you taking us out and showing us the good spot.
Yeah,
you
that was
know,
definitely
let's
cool.
go down here a little bit, and yeah, you are a machine. I was like, dude, this guy rips. This is great.
Well,
And
it's for me, it starts in the morning. It doesn't start like, oh crap, there's a wave. What do I do? It starts with my mind and how I am and how I feel about it and how I go, okay, I'm a mile from my break at my kitchen table, but I know exactly what the tide looks like now. And I'm thinking, and I'm already, and these are lessons I learned in Hawaii, because you have to know these things. You just have to, or you do not succeed.
Yeah.
It eats you up and you go home. And so I think like a wave. I mean, you know, and the process is all day, and even the night at, you know, the evening after when it's over, and I'll take it back to somehow we met. That's all the process, you know.
Yeah. So we definitely want to get into the Hawaii thing, but we'll get way ahead of ourselves. So tell us how you got from Virginia Beach to St. Augustine, and how'd you decide to stay
I
there?
to college, and I was enrolled.
Okay.
And I went for a little bit. Then I started surfing, and I met a dude, and he knew about the state, and we just started cruising the state. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's my focus. And I went back home at some point, and I owed my folks money for kind of dropping out of school. And I worked for almost 3 months, paid them all back. Got $200 ahead in my pocket and hauled ass back to St. Augustine, and have never looked back. And I don't think I can spend more than 3 days in Richmond before this cat gets really squirrely and has to get going. But been here ever since. It's been over. I was 1982, 83, and
Right.
you know, and then. My goal has always been, I will never take a step backwards.
Right.
If I change my situation here, it is only going to put me forward on the better surf. I will not, because, you know, when you grow up,
Of course.
you got to fight for it.
Well, we're too old to miss waves.
Yeah.
You know, we're no more miss waves. We're not missing waves anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and it's amazing because I've lived in a few different states, and I've lived in beautiful places. Some spots I move to, nothing flows, nothing fits. Just not my spot. Other places you move to, it's like everything falls in place. You meet friends, the work falls in place, and you know you're supposed to be there. It's like the universe almost opens up and just kind of, this is the spot. You know, and it sounds like that was the spot for you. Sounds like Ellen just landed there without even thinking about it. She's always been there, which is pretty neat to land in a beautiful spot.
Pretty much just birthed straight into it. I was
Yeah.
birthed into a brackish, salty life.
Yeah.
It's good for you. Good for you. It's a good life.
She's OG for this town. And the real deal, and everybody knows it. And my favorite person to ever see go down the line on that CC ride, or she rides. And first time I ever laid eyes on her, she was going down the line, actually, and on a nice little, like, kind of chest high glassy wave, and I was like, And I was like, whoa. So that's just, it's just another example of following the ocean and it taking us
Right.
to be
And how long has it been since you two have been together?
93,
93.
since
Yeah.
93.
All right.
28 years.
Yeah.
28 years.
Raised, I had 2 little ones and she had a little one, 3 daughters when we got together. So, I raised 3 daughters. Now they're all old and out.
Nice.
Grandkids.
Nice.
Been a long run.
Yeah. So let's get to the spot we want to hear more about Hawaii. How did this Hawaii thing come? You guys have been spending some time there, huh?
So I was a single dad when I was in my young 20s, raising 2 girls on my own. That was when the late 80s, the whole
Okay.
world discovering Costa Rica. I'm the only dude from Florida you will ever meet that has never been to Costa Rica. And while everybody was out getting theirs, I was at home changing diapers with no freaking phone. And I surfed as much as I could. And that was just the hunger, man. And so we started traveling and we went to some places. We went to the Dominican Republic. So we had a little spot down there. We went to a bunch. And one year, some friends, 2 buddies were going to Hawaii and I jumped on the trip. Great trip, incredible experience at the North Shore. I was 35. The following year, we go back to the Dominican Republic for almost 3 weeks. I come home, spend 10 days setting tile. Then I go to Peru and meet a friend down in Peru for a nice little run of surf. Come home, should be like everything you ever dream of. And the only thing I could ever think about through all of that was, damn, what's happening on the North Shore right now? What's happening on the North Shore? So the next year we went, and I mean, we've done some other trips, but it's been a 22 years worth of chasing. This will be, unfortunately, we probably won't make it this winter with COVID. COVID gave us a long trip last year, but this one we're not. But this will be the 4th winter in 22 years that I haven't made over there. So,
Wow.
but it's on a personal level, that's everything to me.
Yeah.
Every
For sure.
day. Yeah.
It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah. I've been fulfilled, like would never ever have guessed that this cat would be doing that, like
Right.
not even,
Right.
So I could tell stories for hours and hours, so I don't know what you want to know. you know.
How are you as an East Coast surfer?
Ask her, man. She got the best waves I've ever seen her drop into
But
this
I
winter.
am not, that's, for me, surfing over there is not a joy. It just isn't, because I'm just intimidated. I'm a little teeny tiny lady. I don't understand the whole concept of a wave that breaks that long, where I think I got the wave and there's somebody, 10 yards down already on the wave because it's
Right.
breaks. And so for me, it's really nerve wracking to be there and surf. I will swim. Waimea Bay is my swimming hole. I swim laps in Waimea Bay.
Right.
Surfing, I'm just simply not comfortable there.
Yeah, she
I'm
has
just
she
not.
has a window, but when it's on, it's I love watching.
I agree. My first trip to Hawaii, I was probably early 20s. And when I got there, it was, and I was surfing in Santa Cruz. I was living in Santa Cruz. So I was used to surfing double overhead surf. Hawaii was something completely different. It was fast. And the ocean just had this ferociousness. It was like the difference between a lab and a pit bull.
Yeah,
It was just aggressive. And when you get a beating, it would just, I remember my head getting rattled from just the aggression of the waves.
yeah,
It's a different thing. It's a different thing. I mean,
yeah. One thing.
I don't know if it's because it's so far in the middle of the ocean that the waves get going so fast. So it's just,
And
That's
deep.
not like
It's
anything
just
else.
that's totally
deep.
what it is. It's so deep, and you're the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And
Yeah, nothing's slowing it down.
No.
How are you? I guess as an East Coast surfer, I know that for doing East Coast and West Coast surfers going to Hawaii, they're received quite differently sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can speak. You've been both. But have you being older when you went, like you said, 35 when you started going over there,
Yeah.
and so do you think are you received differently than? Do you think you were received differently there being an East Coast surfer or being an older person as opposed to being a West Coast surfer?
So
Southerner.
Southerner. All right. Yeah.
They
Plus,
lo-
if I'm with, I'll let her speak. But if I'm with her, every door opens for me. I just shut it. You know.
I'm the little sunbeam.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, and she after just this winter alone, she could run for mayor of North Shore and
Oh,
probably
yeah.
win just from the beach walks, you know,
Yeah,
every day and everything like that. But the first few years I went, I never looked up. All anybody saw of me was the top of my head, and all I saw was the damn ground.
yeah,
And healthiest respect for all of that kind of stuff. And like, I mean, I don't talk names a whole lot about places and breaks and stuff. But like it took forever for me to just like drive over the mountain and go Makaha side
yeah,
and drive
yeah.
and like say, well, I guess so, dude, you know, that's what you're gonna have to do, you know, and this winter we went over to Waianae several times together and I'll go over by myself, and it's just I don't know what to say about the acceptance, you know. Being Southern helps. They like you know, the people like that, they get it. And just really paying attention and watching and doing. When I'm in Makaha, my first wave is a left, and that's a right point break. And I go all the way to the inside corner, way up, just to get a left because nobody wants that wave into the rocks, but I can get into the rhythm. But you got to paddle past 100 dudes, 100 people to get there. And I'm not paddling up on nobody.
No.
Not a soul. So I wait for the set. I get to the first spot, and when the set comes, everybody goes this way and I go that way. Now I'm giving secrets here, but for this is one nobody's really going to try. And so I get to the second set, second part of the reef, and sometimes it takes me 45 minutes to get where I want to be. But I'm not going to paddle up on nobody.
No.
Now that I'm old and gray and still go and ride a little 510 and big surf,
you get it a little bit more
respect. Then, you know, they'll notice. Folks will notice that no matter where they're.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they'll give.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I was wondering if that kind of, you know, because I know growing up in Virginia Beach and then living on the Outer Banks, I used to surf with Bob Holland. And Bob Holland, I remember him 75 years old riding a shortboard and ripping. Yeah. And I grew up watching him surf. And Bob Holland's a East Coast legend.
Yeah.
And it was just that guy when he paddled out. It's like, yes, you know, going down to the lighthouse. You know, we called the lighthouse the fight house. And I remember him, you know, just paddling out. Respect for him. Yeah. And I think wherever he went, he got it too.
Yeah. And I love seeing, like, there's old guys everywhere. And if they're older than me, man, I watch everything they do. And if they got one word they want to lay on me, man, I am all ears. And
of course.
What I've discovered and what I love about old people surfing is the only people that are left are the people that love it, have to have it, because you can't be our age and take the poundings we get and go one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it. You know what I mean? And so there's a purity there with old dudes and old ladies that isn't across the board there with other generations, you know.
Exactly.
You know? So, and I that's the ultimate goal to me of just the whole purity of it all. And so
absolutely.
appreciate that, you know.
Do you is there one surf session? We all have that, like those surf sessions that are burned in our memory. Is there one surf session that you have that's just absolutely burned in your memory of all time? Might not have been the best waves, but it's best surf session ever or most memorable.
Can I let her answer that and then I'll answer it real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Yes, it was a totally out of the blue Labor Day
Oh yeah, that was good.
session that was just like, it just appeared. It appeared overnight. It was my kind of wave. I like a wave that's gentlemanly. It's not like shoving you. It's like saying, here's my beautiful self, surf on me, instead of like, get on that thing and go, lady. What are you waiting for? I like a gentlemanly wave that's going to treat me like a lady. And oh my God.
So does he.
Yeah, treat me like a lady. Don't be slapping me.
No. We're talking Virginia Beach.
I moved to the
Santa
Outer Banks.
Cruz.
I moved to the Outer
No.
Banks.
Yeah. So that was a beautiful day.
So where was that, Ellen? Was that?
It was right there, right where we surfed. boys.
Yeah, right
The
in the
exact,
park.
it was our spot,
Yeah.
mile and a half from the house, effortless. Everyone's
Yeah.
freaking out Labor Day. We just tripped into waves and just longboarded all day. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Those are the best when you don't expect those
Oh,
swells and you
yeah.
walk
Yeah.
right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unusual for us, just healing,
Yeah.
just healing,
Just
and,
really
it was a
good.
nice
Perfect.
long period. It seemed like a real long period.
Yeah, it was a long
groundswell.
period.
Long period
Good
groundswell, because
stuff.
we get so used to getting wind stuff. So when we get a long
Mm.
period groundswell, it's just like, oh
It was
my.
good. So
So I'm going to ask you guys another question for both answer this one.
But he didn't answer his.
yeah,
Oh, we
sorry.
didn't.
I really want to answer
Go,
that.
go, go, go.
I just wanted to let my wife talk and have her.
Go.
handle it. So,
Getting ahead of you.
so I don't know if I told you guys this or not. I have journals for every single session I have ever had in Hawaii.
Whoa.
Are you serious?
That would be
I
a
know
cool
who
book.
I surfed with. I know what board I rode. I know whether that board got broke. I know whether I got broke, whether I got barreled, whether my buddy.
That's cool.
I know every single detail of every single
What a
time
trip.
I have surfed in 22 years on the North Shore. And I have
That is
learned
crazy.
so much by reviewing through years and seeing patterns. And so, but the best thing about that is I can open up a page from 16 years ago and read a day, and I know that day like it was yesterday.
You relive it. Yeah.
And do you think a big part of it is because you actually wrote it down?
No, everything about it is because I wrote it, and because
So
I
it's
see it in
etched.
relationship to yesterday, and then the next day I see the swell, what was happening. So the answer to that question becomes, in the most hilarious of hilarities, the best day of surf in my life was at a spot that is my favorite spot on this planet, which everybody knows is not even, because I ain't even gonna let you know where it is, but it's on the North Shore. It's a neighborhood spot, and I was shown this place. You can't see it from the Cam Highway. You'll never surf it unless somebody takes you there. And I surfed it the best day this spring on 4/20/2020, which is, we were in the middle of that whole extra 2 months that COVID kept us there, and the North Shore fired for April and May. The bay broke at the end of May when we left. You know,
Wow.
22 seconds in like May 20th or something. You know, it was just incredible
Right.
experience. Can't nobody around, but that day was I can remember specific turns. I remember specific waves. Surfed with about 6 guys for about 4 or 5 hours, and it was, I mean, you know, it was double overhead sheet glass, riding my little 5, just rights and lefts. Outside, it's an outside corner of a way pretty far out. Just yeah.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
I love you. We can see the excitement. Just thinking about it. That's great.
Well, that's kind of cool. You can just sit there and open up those books and read them anytime. That's pretty neat.
I used to have a friend that would do it in a Tide book, and he would write little notes in his Tide book about, it was just big. It was that big. And that's how he kept them.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of anyone doing it like you, actually doing a journal, a surf journal.
It's and I got notes about special things we've done, and it started for basically research, because I was kind of getting bored with surfing in a way almost when I went to the North Shore. And I told Ellen, I said, man, before I went there, I just wish almost it was a beginner again. Well, I went over there, and it showed me quickly,
Humbling,
that I hadn't even begun the journey. And so, I did that out of self-preservation. So I could start like, okay, now if it's these numbers on the buoys, you probably want to hit these spots, or you want to pull this board out and all this. And in the beginning, it's all like 2.2345 feet, like so exact and everything. And now 20 years later, it's like, it's overhead, got pounded, got a couple. But it's like I can see every single part of my deal there, and really, really interesting when I look back.
right?
What is so that's your best? And it's hard. I can't even think of a worse surf session. I can think of mine when I broke my foot in half.
Mine are always when I get injured.
I broke my foot in half. Like it crushed like a bag of Doritos, like pork rinds. But I remember that. Is there like one that was just an absolute, like, one you just want to forget?
No, because I chalk it all as school. And every pounding I ever took put me on another wave. And every freaking time I was held under and scared made me more comfortable. And I've had times where I've been embarrassed. I had a lady at this outer reef, really far outer reef, and I was caught inside, and I thought I was gonna die. And I'm saying, Lord, tell my family I love them as I'm trying to stick this 8-6 under the water. And this old lady in a kayak is dropping in on this, like, what? Friggin' this mountain. And her husband's in the channel going, no, don't go. And I'm getting ready to get pounded, looking up at the bottom of her kayak, and this metal, like, center board is not even engaged. It's so vertical. And she's got her paddle dug in, and she's slotted, just goes. And then I got freaking pounded. And when it was done, I was a half a mile from where I started, like that far out. I mean, I don't mean I wasn't underwater that long, but by the time my ordeal was over, my day was, and that is not, I mean, the kayak lady is definitely a day. And I had, oh my gosh, man, they're like, dude,
there's one in every town. We've got a kayak lady in Carolina Beach. She takes everybody out.
Gosh, just goes, she'll go towards you, she'll go sideways and take 3 people out.
Yeah. I've paddled out Haleiwa, busted board, not even an attempt. Not even a chance to even get to a point. But catch a wave. I've done that in log cabins. I'm gonna get my busted board. Don't even get out. Backyards, busted board. Don't even get out.
So let me ask you this. It sounds like you guys have done quite a bit of traveling. Sounds like you've been to South America a bit. You've done Hawaii. Is there anywhere you haven't been that's on your list of spots? Like, I've got to surf this spot.
Carolina Beach.
He's probably surfed here.
No, we have so overdue on a North Carolina trip to see all our people and see my brother.
Your brother lived in the Outer Banks.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna be honest, man. It's all kind of tied into our Richmond thing. I get the willies, but I hate to say that's all on me, people. But no, I'm going to speak for her right now. I think, man, home right now is just really where we need to be, and where like we got home from 4 months on the North Shore last year, and it was so wacky with the COVID, and then the spring
Yeah.
was so crazy. And I tell people, and I said I was a blissed out, nervous wreck. And it was, I mean, dude, it was like 18 seconds, 20 seconds, 22 seconds, just a day, like 2-3 times a week, no wind.
Yeah.
You can't run from that. I mean, it's
No.
like, it is there. It is everything. Your manhood's kind of, you kind of hold deals on the
Yeah.
line, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yeah, I want to go surf some Mexico. I would love to go to any corner, any world that is firing. But right now, I have never, been many years since I've been so happy to be sitting in this house with this lady right here and being.
Good for you.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting too,
Change.
because
Don't freak out, people. That'll change. But
Can
Yeah.
you imagine a 50-watt van surf trip with Bob Gnarly to
oh,
Mexico?
I'm sure it's going to happen someday. But
That would be
Yeah.
You know,
outstanding.
I
want
did
that
a lot of
right. I want
traveling.
to get that one right down there.
Yeah.
That Tom Curran just did his movie and down there, Free Scrubber, the little
Oh,
thing.
Free
if you
Scrubber.
haven't seen that, that's a cool
That's a
one.
good one. I
Yeah.
like that.
You know, when I was growing up, my dad was a surfer, so we would go up and down the coast, of California.
Mhm.
So we did that, and then as I got older, it was Mexico, and then it was Hawaii, then it was other places.
Yeah.
But Peyton and I, what we've been doing lately is we've been kind of cruising up and down the East Coast. He's a little more familiar with it since I'm
Mhm.
from the West Coast. But there's something about home, and there's something about all the little nooks and crannies
Yeah.
all around you.
Yeah.
And people are flying across the world and missing these spots that are all around them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of been our trip lately. Is we're going to hit up everywhere on the East Coast.
Yeah.
We're going to meet all the legends like you two. That's part of our goal. And hear the stories, you know, because it's cool to hear the story of these people.
Yeah.
You know, we hear the stories of the surf stars like Kelly Slater, but the average surfer, the people that are really doing it for nothing but the love of it.
Yeah.
It's not their job.
Yeah.
No one's calling them up and telling them, hey, you better go on the surf trip. You know, we do it. 'Cause
Yeah.
We love it. There's
Yeah.
something special about that.
Speaking of surf stars, who's the coolest, most famous surf star you've ever met? Like that was super cool.
I mean, I'm going to answer that twice. Two different people. I did not, as a young boy, I did not know who I was officially till I opened that magazine and I saw Jay Adams in that skateboard magazine. And it was his profile, Dogtown era. And when I saw those pictures of Jay Adams was the first time in my life Bobby Mosley recognized himself in another human being.
Nice.
That's heavy shit right there. And I'm living in a place where none of that is recognized, none of it is appreciated, it's demonized, and you're treated as a freaking like loser.
Yeah.
Here, I knew they were all wrong. Every last one. But I couldn't prove it till I saw Jay Adams' picture in that magazine. I was like, that's it. So that effect was everything on me. Now, we've met some cool people and had some it's just on random stuff, not friends with anybody. If I'm going to say my personal is Curran. I mean, I've had some run-ins with Curran, and I don't surf pipe and backdoor. I have surf pipe and backdoor. And
Not run-ins.
well, not run-ins, encounters. We've met. We haven't beaten up by Kalar.
Yeah, did you hear Bob
like
Gnarly
that,
kick Tom
That
Curran's ass?
was Freddie Garcia.
Yeah, but
I bet you could kick Tom Curran's ass though.
I think
well,
you could-
you know, but I
put
couldn't.
my
I
money
wouldn't
on
have the
Bob
heart
Gnarly.
for it. I wouldn't have it for the heart for it. But the best barrel I ever got at backdoor, probably like about a 4 to 5 foot Hawaiian wave. You know, not double overhead, but it was overhead.
Overhead, yeah.
And I was surfing in one of this magical things with a very young Mason and Coco Ho. They were both probably like 13, 14, 10, 12. Two other kids that I think were Tom's first two kids, and Tom Kerman and me. In the middle of the day, we are the only people out. I could find the journal and tell you exactly the date.
So that was great.
But I got that wave, and one human being on the earth saw it, and it was Tom Curran. And I was in the tube at back door looking out. He was on the shoulder paddling out, looking in, and that joker smiled at me, and I wet my pants, and I could have just cashed it in right there.
Nice,
That's great.
nice.
I did make it. I did make the wave. But like man, there's, if you were gonna put any kind of value and stuff on just the personal stuff that I really don't need to anybody to ever know, you know, just the fulfillment, you know, in terms of like that part of how do you share with other, you know, and that's the great thing about North Shore. You mix it up with the greatest in the world.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
You're
like,
thrown in the mix.
sitting
Yeah.
there
I wanna
shoulder
ask-
to shoulder, right? And even if you don't know the dude and he's not a made dude, he's better than most guys in the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I want to ask you who the biggest butthole you've ever met is, but I know you don't want to talk about people.
well, you know what I'm gonna say? You know what I'll say?
What?
This guy right here, Charlie. This guy right here.
I was like,
Not that I throw vibes,
but
this is where I get it wrong.
I knew you wouldn't put a name out there. I was like,
No.
you're such
No,
a
I
kind
won't go back.
soul, and you're like, man, no backdoor. You know, like I've heard his stories. He has some Santa Cruz stories that are amazing. But I don't know if we can.
Santa Cruz can get pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. You know, I moved to Santa
Yeah.
Cruz. I think I was 19 years old. And I thought, hey, this is my town now.
Yeah,
Hard lesson to learn. And then I learned in Hawaii at about 20
Yeah.
years old.
yeah,
I got some humbling. I learned real quick how
yeah,
to sit on the inside and wait your turn.
yeah. I've never faced the hardest I've ever faced that kind of stuff is in this town, my hometown, St. Augustine.
Really? Huh.
And when I moved here, this place was a different place. And,
Was it?
And I had a friend, like the first 2 months I was here, some dude like chasing him down the beach with brass knuckles and over a skimboard. And it was nothing, just like, well, I got nothing to do. I guess I'll punch this guy with some brass knuckles and take his skimboard. kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean? And it was just a different place. And
Well, you know, everywhere has changed. Like that localism, there is in Hawaii, but it's not like it was back
No.
in the day. You know.
No.
Well, I remember growing up in Virginia Beach, it was like that at First Street, and then Hatteras was like that at the Lighthouse, and then Florida. I remember surfing Lake Worth. Woo! Lake Worth
Yeah.
was.
I had to
was
buy
like-
a guy a 6-pack of beer at Lake Worth Pier to surf.
Yeah,
was-
Lake
it was-
Worth was
it was-
tough.
I was 19 years old and I pulled up there on a Monday morning and it was firing, like chest to head high and barreling. And I was pulling my stuff out and this guy says, "You can't surf," but he goes, "But if you take me to the store and buy me a 6-pack, I'll let you paddle out." And so I did, you know, and he
I
did.
would
He
too.
paddled out with me. And then 2 weeks later, I ran into that guy at Frisco Woods Campground. It was freaking hilarious. Like
Oh, that's funny.
That's great.
Yeah, Lake Worth was hairy. I remember in Palm Beach was not bad, but Lake Worth was
Yeah.
something.
that was the spot. Definitely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You know, we were totally inspired by you that you're similar to us. You know, our whole 50 Watt thing is about being 50 and not really caring and still doing what we always have done and not giving
Yeah.
up. A lot of people I know have had a little period in their life where they kind of take a break from surfing and work or family or whatever happens. And the next thing you know, it's been 2 years and you haven't been in the water. Did that ever happen to you? Did you ever take a break from surfing?
No.
I have.
Have you?
I went to school in Michigan for
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
All
Well, yeah,
my-
it's hard to surf in Michigan.
Yeah.
There is surf in Michigan though.
There is surf
I
in
never
Michigan,
forgot.
but it's
Yeah.
icy cold.
No, that was not surfing. I was doing a dance degree program. I'm like, it's all about flow. Okay. It's about flow.
Yeah.
It wasn't surfing, but I was flowing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever taken more than a 3 or 4 month break, but you know, my friends and I we always had a joke that friends don't let friends quit surfing.
Yeah.
And if you used to surf, you never really surfed at all.
No.
If you say I used to surf,
Yeah,
then-
then you never really surfed because how could you stop surfing if you're a true surfer.
I mean, I had my stints when I was in the military. I went for a little bit of time because I couldn't.
Well, in prison too, right?
Oh yeah, in prison, you know,
time.
yeah, just yeah.
They
I
didn't
was
have a
riding
van.
other stuff,
Not even a half.
but yeah, you know, and I went to college inland for a little while, you know, so but yeah, it's definitely when I'm you know got back into it, I just you know I had some injuries, some spinal surgery, things like that. I longboarded for a little bit, and I was like got back on my shortboard. Now I'm a shortboarder who longboards sometimes. I like getting the longboard out sometimes. So, is that like what's your primary mode? I know you like you're a shortboarder, but you like longboard some too.
Yeah, I mean, like, so it's interesting because one of the things that's gone down for me, and this is a specific interesting to the age thing. So I'm gonna count here real quick. So 57. So I was like 52, 53. I radically changed my equipment in my 52, 53. And I got a friend, we have a dear friend in Hawaii, and he shapes for himself. Actually used to production shape for HIC, but now he just shapes for himself. And he has been on the quest to ride little tiny boards and giant surf. And he's developed this little quad model thing. And I started riding it in little waves over there. I'd borrow one. And so about 5, 6 years ago, I guess now, I had him make me one, and I had it waiting for me over there. And it took a year for me to adapt, you know, but every session there'd be one turn, or I'd make one little skizzy thing or something that would show me the potential, and I stuck with it. And within a year, I took all my old junk and tossed it. I will never ride a board with 3 fins ever again.
I was just
I was
telling
going to
you.
ask you about your quiver. I was going to ask you about your quiver, and now that answers it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I just ordered a new board. My buddy Jeff Cummings, he owns Seek Surfboards, who actually he's going to be our second interview.
Yes.
We're going to the Outer Banks. We both ordered a short board,
Yeah.
and I got a groveler. I got a small one because I have he has a shape called the Banker, and it is a thruster, but it's like, I've got a groveler, and so I just got like this little 5'10" egg. I got a 5 fin, so I can ride it as a 3. I mean, as a quad or a 2+1.
Right.
I think I'm going to like the quad a lot.
Yeah.
I have a Chris Birch.
It's a commitment. You know, it took me a while to find the drive point, and I had to commit, you know, and like I say, it was just every session I would learn.
I think we lost volume for some reason. Is your mute button on by any chance?
Oh man.
Oh, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
You're
You're
good.
back.
There you go. Awesome. Good deal. Cool. So
Yeah. So yeah, I know that like, yeah, I had a little Chris Birch. I mean, he's from your neck of the woods down a little further south, but I have a Chris Birch quad egg I had years ago, and I still ride it, but it's got a bigger keel fins on it.
yeah.
But I think this quad, you know, I got some Viking fin systems on it, futures, and I think it's going to be a little loose and fast, a lot of drive. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I met a guy in 1984 named Will Jobson. Dynamic Balance was his company. He was making Twinsers back then.
Yeah.
And he was just this kind of tripped out hippie surf genius guy. And he told me a long time ago, he said, listen, quads and 4 fins are faster. And when you surf faster, you surf better.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
End of story. End of story.
And I have always been attracted. I've always gone from the Twinser, then the quad changed, and then stretch. Kind of changed that whole thing where the back fins are more like thruster fins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would have a hard time ever going back to a thruster, I think.
Yeah. It changed my line. It changed how it changed everything I'm looking for in the peak. It puts me deeper. It puts me further in the pocket.
Absolutely.
It puts my brain on skateboard mode. I am fully like thinking skate turns and just it's been rejuvenating.
Flow.
Yeah.
Everything flows.
Yeah.
With the neck. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's what I was going to ask you, how your skating influenced your surfing, and that answers that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What it's a,
Whoa. We got to hold. Payne will get a little off the deep end. When he starts laughing at the question, you good?
yeah, I'm good. I won't
Okay,
ask that
behave.
question.
Behave. See, I told you. I got to pull him in.
I had some rapid fires that we could do.
No, dude, you can ask anything you want. We might not answer, but you can go for it.
Well, I was gonna. How do you want people to remember you when you're gone?
I just hope I just want them to think. I would love for them to look at the two of us and think Aloha walked in the room. I don't need to.
Nice.
I don't need nobody to think I got the biggest wave or anything like that. I want them to know, damn, that guy got after it though, and he never quit digging, and she's the same way in many ways in all the things that she does, and what most importantly, I want them to go, there was some aloha. There was some light, there was some love. And if they think we cruise through that room with a little bit of style, well, I'll take those points too, but that's, just purity of it all.
I just want people to say, she always made me smile. She just always made me smile somehow. And that's my legacy I would like to see.
Yeah.
I tell people, trophies rust, certificates wither away, go to dust. All that stuff disappears. Eventually, the only difference we really leave on this earth is is what we, the difference we leave in others. That's the only thing we leave on this earth is the difference we make in others' lives. And so I'm fully, into that.
Yeah.
What advice would you give kids today?
About
We're in our 50s.
Well, how about
Yeah.
this? If you met yourself
What would you give
at 21,
Yeah, what would you
what
tell
advice?
yourself at 21?
if I met myself at 21,
Yeah,
I had
after you punched him in the face.
I had particular things going on at 21, so I would tell my 21-year-old self to run like hell. That's what I would tell my 21-year-old self. Run! But that's an inside joke.
I would have probably kicked my ass.
I would have too, for sure. Without
I'd be like, dude,
Yeah, I would take it back younger, and I would say they are not right, Bobby Mosley. The world ain't right. What you feel, what you know and believe and love is right for me.
Mhm.
I would tell that dude you are on the course. We were surfing the Malibu equivalent, the equivalent of Malibu on the North Shore. We were actually staying right across from it this year. And Ellen's catching great waves, has fun, waist to chest high day. And she strikes up a conversation with this lady in the water. Turns out she's from Mechanicsville, Virginia, right outside Richmond, Virginia. She lives in Hawaii, by the way now. And we start talking and everything. And so I said to her, we talked about the irony that we were both over there. And she said, and I said, who said we couldn't do it? And she said, she looked me square in the eye and she goes, everybody. And I said, right on, because you are 100% correct. So I would tell that little dude, don't you listen to a word of these people around you. Go get yours, son, is what I would say.
We love it, guys.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, it was an honor. We're pretty excited.
Well, hold on.
You got another
I
question?
got some more questions.
Oh, wait, he's got a couple more questions, but I'm getting nervous now because he's bringing these questions.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to ask the one.
We're wearing, you can see us.
Like, what do you like? What nowadays? I know things are a little different for sometimes. I don't know. Would you? Which is better, a really good poop or sex?
No answers.
I told him it's gonna come here.
Well,
He's got this thing about poops.
well,
He
you
just-
know,
it's
I could top you and say both at the same time.
That's what I was That's what I was afraid of. Hey guys, you know, I was just what I was saying. What I was
Caught the
saying, guys,
camera.
guys, it was an
Who
honor.
are you people? Who are you?
It was an honor to meet you guys.
It was,
Yeah, man.
you know, once you get to know me, he just doesn't even blink anymore.
Well, I see it coming, and that's why I know. I'm like, pull
Yeah.
back the reins. Whoa, buddy, whoa. No, guys, honestly, we were so stoked. You
Yeah.
made one of our. You were a big part of our trips. The fact
Awesome.
that you guys came back to our campfire and hung out. We talked stories, and we learned a little bit about who you guys really were. Pretty instantly, we were like, "Those are the real thing.
Yeah,
Those are the real thing." Right there."
genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an awesome trip. We're excited to hang out with you guys again, and I'm sure it's going to happen.
Definitely.
It'll
Definitely.
probably happen in St. Augustine. It'll probably happen in Carolina Beach.
No telling.
Maybe in Outer Banks.
Yeah, we need to go down to St.
Wherever the
Augustine.
swell
Yeah,
is.
we'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're stoked. It was great to meet you guys. And like we said, you know, there was no coincidence in it
Yeah.
by any means.
Yeah. Yeah. 10-4.
And we dig your vibe. And you guys, you know what? We're going to remember you as being pretty stylish couple.
Yeah. well,
You guys
y'all
are pretty cool.
stylish couple yourselves. So.
You know, my daughter was starting to wonder.
Oh my
She's like,
God.
Dad, you know, you're always going camping with Alex.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, no, we're not. We're not a couple. Like, I don't know, Dad. You spend more time with Alex than you do with Mom. You're always camping.
here it comes.
You're always camping, and you sleep
Sorry,
in the
Alex.
same van sometimes. Like, it was
Hey,
cold. It was cold out.
Next trip, bring the tent. Remember, I tried to explain to him. It's a 2-person bed in my van, but it's not a 2-man bed.
Yeah.
Guys, again, it was honored. It was
Yes,
All
It was
sir.
great to meet you guys.
Right on.
We are stoked. Thanks for doing the interview.
Yeah, being our first one, our
Yeah.
first 50-watt
Yeah.
interview.
Awesome.
First
Oh,
51
my.
interview.
Thanks
I
for
couldn't
having
think of a better one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we were stoked, guys. Living
All
the
right.
51
Bob
life.
Gnarly, St. Augustine,
Bye.
Relin,
Relin.
after Rel
Relin.
Sun. East Coast Rel Sun.
All right, guys. Until next time we meet.
All right, guys.
You
Peace
guys
out.
have a good